is a difference between you and me. We both looked into the abyss. But when it looked back at us, you blinked.
Hi guys, I'm Gravy here, and this is a DC Legends video. In this video, we're doing Riddle Me This, and thankfully, I have someone to join me. My DC Legends Yoda, Dr. Zibarro, is on the line with me right now.
Hi there, thanks for having me.
And so, we're going to just hop right into it, no funny business. We're going to discuss Nightmare Campaign, as you probably read in the title. We're going to discuss Nightmare Campaign, and we're going to discuss how to beat Barda. That seems to be a very hot button topic alongside the game apparently crashing for 90% of the people who are playing it. But that seems to be a really big topic, trying to get through Barda. So we're going to try to give you some farmable and not so farmable options to get around her. And in our kind of pre-call meeting, I was actually surprised at how Dr. Zibarro wanted to approach this topic. But before we get into that, that's called a teaser. Teasing what's going to come next is professional, right? So before we get into that, I drop DC Legends videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Raid Shadow Legends videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So please please subscribe, and if you don't like it, hit subscribe and hit dislike. I'm okay with that as well. So as we get into it, first of all, we will just go straight into talking about Nightmare Campaign. Dr. Zibarro, I will let you go into just your impressions of how Nightmare Campaign was. It seems to be a topic that we address just about every time. However, it also feels like to me that Nightmare Campaign is actually changing enough to keep us talking about it.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a whole lot to say in terms of my general impression. I do think there's a lot of similarity to last month. In terms of they put the Azrael in there, but the last few nodes were a little more challenging, and I'm glad they mixed it up because it required you to think differently than you did last month. And but there were some different challenges that you had to overcome to work through that, such as figuring out, for instance, that Shiva. And then it seemed to me, I can't remember which node for sure, if it was node 11 or 12. I think it was 12. Mm-hmm. The Arcus. There was an Arcus in wave 1 and then Arcus in...
That was 12. That was 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was an Arcus in the last wave or the second to last wave. Mm-hmm. And the first Arcus was ramped up like something fierce. Like if you triggered his...
Yeah, he was.
His retribution move, he whacked out even he came close to whacking out your mystics. But in the later,
he was whacking out my mystics. He would the first wave Arcus was legitimately strong enough to one shot when he does that double tap. But he was legitimately strong enough to take out my mystics with not much of a issue.
Yeah, I had to be very careful with him.
Yeah.
But in the last wave or the second to last wave, wherever he appeared again, his stats seemed to be reduced a bit because he was not hitting nearly as hard as
there was two of them on that wave, actually, if I remember. I think it was like the fourth. There were two Arcuses and neither one of them were as strong as the first one.
So yeah, that first wave was like, get yourself past this and maybe you'll be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I got past it the first time, and then when I tried it the second time, I miscalculated Arcus, and he smacked... Oh, no, first time. I got past it one time, and then I tried to complete it a second time, because I did not get past it my first time, because I underestimated Arcus, and then when I tried to do it a second time, he smacked the hell out of one of my toons. I can't even remember which one, but because Nightmare Campaign is a little bit more sensitive... if you lose one toon, you're building your entire team with a certain goal in mind, each person plays a role. So if you lose one in the very beginning, then you might as well leave the battle because you're not going to be able to complete the rest. So
yeah, if you lose someone on wave 1, you might as well retreat and start over. It's in it. The unfortunate thing is it's a bit expensive
Yeah.
with the energy.
60 energy per on node 12 and 55. And actually, I have to say, I have a confession to make that I told you already, but I spent something around 4 to 5,000 gems just trying to get past like node 11. I don't know, like one. Okay, okay. I'll be honest, and then I'll embellish a little bit. But I part of me was experimenting and not taking it seriously in the beginning. And then when I noticed, like, oh wait, how many gems am I spending on this? Okay, let me get serious. Let me stop experimenting. Let me go ahead and try to take care of it. I kept running into a wall that I couldn't get past, and that was Lady Shiva. Lady Shiva, whenever I would bring a taunter that wasn't Clayface, she would one shot them. She was one shotting Barda, she was one Grundy, of course. And then if I didn't do that, she would one shot somebody off of my team until you gave me that composition or that advice for that one composition. Like she kept smacking the hell out of me. I could not get past, like I could get past the first wave every once in a while, but then I would run into the what, two Azraels, was it, or something like that? It was like an Azrael and a Harley Quinn in like one of the third or fourth waves of that specific node 11, and that meant I need to have True Sight to get rid of that Azrael, but I couldn't bring anybody who would have enough True Sight to handle it in the beginning because Shiva would take them out and. So I just ended up with a whole lot of being screwed out of a lot of gems until I reached out to you. I said, like, hey, what did you do to get past this? And you even directed me towards, and I want to give this guy a shout out, Rundown015. He had an awesome June Nightmare Challenge video that you sent to me on Discord, where he was using Terra and Larfleeze and using the team that you recommended, which was, correct me if I'm wrong, Lex, Terra, Larfleeze, and Black Flash. Is that right? Or is that the other way around?
There were two teams. One was Lex, Larfleeze, Black Flash, and then it was either Darkseid or Terra, depending on which node you were on.
Yeah, I think Terra was the one I used for node 11, and Darkseid was the one I used for, or no, it was Lex. Sorry, Lex, Larfleeze, Darkseid, and Black Flash for node 11. Then Lex, Darkseid, Terra, and Black Flash for node 12. That was the order that I went in.
And I'm going to have to confess that I didn't put a lot of my own cognitive resources into figuring this out this month. And the reason is because I wanted to conserve my gems. So I just went out and tried to see what other folks are doing before trying my own thing this month, because I happen to be in a little spot where I used a lot of gems. There were so many things this month. The Brainiac, the Azrael sale, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on that I wanted to take part in.
Yeah, and I couldn't get into any of it either. Jeez. But, go ahead.
But yeah, Larfleeze will probably always be a good and viable option for Nightmare Campaign because he stacks permanent intelligence up.
Yeah.
And
which I didn't even remember until you brought it up to me, because the last time I used Larfleeze was like before Arcus was reworked. That was like 2 years ago or something. So I forgot all about any of his kit, to be quite frank.
he's always been a monster in PvE.
Yeah.
Anytime there's been sort of like the hero challenges, the PvE, any of the PvE content, if he's available, I often consider him as an option because just get a few deaths under your belt and he's just whacking everybody regardless.
Okay. Well, that's something to keep in mind. That was one thing I put in the video about like Nightmare Challenge, I don't know, weeks ago, where it was you want those tunes that stack permanent buffs, which is why Superwoman is so awesome, her permanent empowered strength up. Gorilla Grodd is awesome because of his permanent speed up. So any tunes that stack permanent anything are awesome in PvE content, like you said, and especially Nightmare Campaign. So that was a good shout, and it helped me get past all of it. So,
and you know, Larfleeze would be good in raid if there were ways for to get deaths so he could get those intelligence ups, but there isn't usually.
There is no way.
So he's not that good of a character for raid for that reason.
But here's a question for you. What if you were to run Larfleeze with Hippolyta and Lex and let him get the intelligence ups and buffs that way? It's not permanent, but then the match is only 2 minutes long. And if he's constantly getting intelligence ups from other sources, do you think because he hits pretty hard, do you think he would be viable then? Or is that taking too many resources to just get him to work?
I don't think it would work, and the other reason is because his two
Hmm.
it does nothing. All it does would take up time from the match, and
Oh,
you need
true, true, true.
in a raid situation, you need the more that you can get damage dealt. Any
Hmm.
move that causes that's just utility. It needs to really be bringing good utility to the damage dealers that are in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So,
true. That's true. Fair enough point. Fair enough point.
but we
So,
digress a little bit. We digress if
oh
we're
no,
going
we
to
do, but
stay.
I mean, it's all there. It's all there. So, like to me, I like this Nightmare campaign. It was way, way, way more challenging. Well, way, way, way more. It was more challenging, or just challenging in a different way. They changed up some things. Honestly, I think that they're having fun with it too, like trying to figure out ways to make it difficult for us to get past it. Like putting two Azraels on the same wave with a Harley Quinn, like that's evil. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yes.
evil. And I'm guaranteeing, and I shouldn't even say this, but they're probably already working on it now. They're going to have, as a nice little transition to our next topic, they're probably going to have like one wave that has like two Bardas and two Azraels just sat there. And you're going to be like, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this noise?
Mm.
So as we transition over into our Big Barda discussion, we had two different approaches. So explain to me your approach to taking out Barda first, and then I'll explain to you the thought process that I started with.
Okay, so it depends very heavily on who she is paired with.
Hmm.
So if she's paired with Azrael, if she's paired with other priority characters like Wonder Girl, which you don't see a lot of, but she's probably going to make a little bit of a comeback
She
with
has
Terra.
been making I have seen a
With
lot. I've seen a comeback of Wonder Girl in the last like week and a half, 2 weeks. Like I'm seeing a lot of her lately.
Yeah, that's because of Terra.
Yeah, 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 more Terra than Barda. Yeah, to be fair. Yeah,
Because if Wonder Girl, anybody that gives a lot of buffs, immediately Wonder Girl comes to mind.
yeah.
And so for that instance, I'll often use uh, use True Sight. So if there's an Azrael, I'll
Hmm.
make sure that I have Arcus and Red Robin in there, and I'll take Azrael out first, and then
Hmm.
Arcus is also a good counter to Barda.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, if she starts stacking those stamina ups, it becomes problematic,
Hmm.
or Arcus can't even whack her out. So you have to be careful. So the two main things that I would consider with Barda is that if she isn't paired with anyone else that's priority, then just bring Arcus and make sure he goes first, whether that be through bringing Martian Manhunter or Brainiac or Red Robin to pass his turn to Arcus,
Hmm.
and then just whack her because he will take her out
Yeah.
with as long as you do it from the very get go before she starts stacking stamina up.
Hmm.
Um, so that's one way to go about it is to prioritize her and take her out first.
Side note, Arcus is farmable damn near everywhere, especially red alerts.
Yes, so there's really no excuse not to have him because he is everywhere.
Everywhere. I'll probably have enough to take him RB5 and haven't even like counted up the frags.
Yeah, I have enough for RB3.
I'd have to
Uh,
go look and see.
I think the one that I have the absolute most of is Star Sapphire, and I have
Hmm.
enough to take her to RB4, I believe.
Hmm. I really don't know. Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
But before you start speculating in RB5, let me say that it requires a ton of fragments. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably don't have that. I think the most I have is either Batman CC or Hal Jordan, one of those two, because they're on that first chapter for heroic, and that's the chapter that I always do, whether it's PVE or PvP day, just to get the required amounts. And so I am sure I
Mm.
have the most of like Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. So yeah, I think I can take Green Lantern like L3 or RB3 or something. So exaggeration much, just a
Okay.
smidge. Uh,
So Arcus. Arcus is one of the key ways in which dealing with Barda.
mhm.
I would also say another key strategy for dealing with Barda is stun. If she
Mm,
is paired with the likes of Tara or Hal Jordan, because at that point you
yeah.
can't stun her. But I'll tell you how to get around that in a moment. But if she's not paired with Tara or Hal Jordan, although Tara is very popular, we'll get to that. You can use Hawk Girl, Killer Frost, Martian Manhunter. All of these are really good options. Any stun, you can even use Dark Side to stun and just bring yourself a strong green to take care of her. Take care of her.
Small thing though, I will say, not disagreeing, but just an addendum to it, is that I actually, because I have it set up in different categories as to ways you would take out Barda, I would put Martian Manhunter more in the Arcus category in most cases because if you can get Martian Manhunter is going to go before her, and his A3 can one shot her. So you can
Yes.
get her taken care of as a heavy, like a heavy hit, the same way you would do with Arcus by A3ing her from the very beginning.
Yeah, the heavy hitters I have in mind are Arcus, Martian Manhunter, Lex, and Larfleeze.
Yeah,
Are
those are the
the
ones I have. Actually, I put Lex in a different category, but I'll let you go ahead and continue with the stun category. I had Darkseid and Artemis down as well for stun.
Okay, so Larfleeze can take care of her. Um, Not someone that you can do manually. You have to, or I'm sorry, on auto, do have to deal with him manually.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how I would say that. And then what else do I have listed here? One thing about Lex is very farmable. And if he's not a character that you don't have, you absolutely need to prioritize him at the top of your list right now, if you're a newer
Yes.
player,
Not
because
just
he
for
does
Barda
so
either.
much. He does so. We're talking about survival support suit, Lex.
No, I'm
That
just
is
saying, but
for
not just for Barda. Like if you don't have Lex and you haven't been working on him for 1,000 other things in the game, you need to make sure to collect his frags and farm his node.
right. And one of the reasons he's S tier is because he does so many things. He's technically, if you look at his kit, he's a utility character,
Hmm.
but he's a healer and he does it very well, perhaps the best healer in the game.
I would say
he
best in
also
the game.
he also delivers big damage, which he does very well, so he's filling three roles very, very well.
Oh, turn meter.
Utility, yeah, utility, um, damage, and healing, which
Hmm.
is so anyhow, Lex, I don't know if it's a bug
Hmm.
because it's not specified in the text, but if you one thing I've been noticing with his basic attack
Hmm.
is if you use his one ability on Barda, she will
Hmm.
not trigger. She does not trigger her her first passive, which is that one that makes her taunt come up and gives her all the stamina up.
You're the one. Okay, so here's the thing, and I'll go ahead and just give you what I was going to do. Like one of the categories that I basically broke down categories as to how you can take care of Barda, and it was top of the list for me was buff immunity, then it was heal immunity, heavy hitters, stun, and doom. And I put Lex in the buff immunity category, whether or not it's a bug or not that she'll do it for the rest or not. The reason why I put him in the buff immunity category is because one way to stop her is to ensure that she doesn't gain that taunt and that she doesn't gain all those stamina ups and mins. And since he has a buff immunity on his A1, you can do that relatively easy. So you can go ahead as I'm staring at the screen, so you can go ahead and hit her with the A1. And whether she procs or not, which I don't know why she wouldn't proc as to what you would say, when she does, she's not getting those stamina ups. She's not getting that taunt. So you can either take out the rest of the team, or she isn't as hard to take out because she's not overhealing and being absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, there's something strange with Lex's basic, because the other thing is hit the purge on his basic, because it's really fantastic. It has
Yeah.
it gives buff immunity, plus it purges, and it hits really hard for a basic.
Yes, it does.
So one of the things though is that it actually will purge. It has a purge that can't miss. So if you use, even though it's not in the text, I think it's a bug. But even though it's not in the text of his basic skill, if you use his basic on Harley Quinn, for instance,
Yeah.
it will purge her buffs, her evasions. For whatever reason, that is something I am not reporting, I'll tell you that.
You shouldn't have even brought it up. Damn it.
Yeah, right. But, I doubt that WB is going to be watching this video. So for folks that are listening,
I can guarantee it. Okay.
yeah. So for folks that are listening, you know a little trick there. You can use Lex's basic. I think that's fairly widely known now in the community, anyhow.
And I
But
do
for those
believe,
that
like,
don't,
sometimes his A1, it doesn't just purge the evasions up. Sometimes it'll purge the taunt as well, which opens up the rest of the team for you.
yeah. Then there is the problem of Darkside Terra, Barda, Azrael, which has been a very common team. In fact, I've given it a shot myself, and I've used it in PvP on auto just to see, hey, is this a good auto team? And
Yeah.
it is. It's actually fairly reliable. There are some teams that didn't work against. I noticed that Star Sapphire will, if Star Sapphire, or not Star Sapphire, Starfire.
Starfire. Yeah.
Sorry. If Starfire is on the other team and I bring that team, I cannot auto because she will just wreck. She will wreck. She gets a turn, she's wrecking your team.
Because she's a beast again. Like, I can't wait to
Yes.
get her. I can't wait to get these frags from the PvP event, because then I can take her L3. Woohoo. Hopefully she'll be the one with the event next month. I wish they had the announcement out, but like they usually do, one of the rework tunes is the tune that gets an event the next month, and I'm hoping to God that it is Starfire and not Terra, because I think I have enough to take Terra almost RB1, but I do not. I can't. I mean, I'm gonna hopefully L3 Starfire this week. So
Yeah. So the way that I've been handling this, although I want to think about it some more so I can find a composition that's a little less time consuming, but oftentimes I will turn to my my turn meter manipulation team, which is Lex, World's Greatest Detective, Red Robin, Donna Troy.
Troy, yeah.
And it solves so many problems when you're just like stuck.
But
Yeah,
against
but it's-
Barda though,
So the way that team handles Darkside Terra, Barda, Azrael is that you have to use, and if anyone really wants to know, you have to be very precise in the way that you use the you set up the algorithm of moves. The main thing is that you need to keep the dynamic duo, World's Greatest Detective and Red Robin, in a turn meter loop. So you use Red Robin's second ability, which is tech support on World's Greatest Detective, and World's Greatest Detective second, which is called Detective Work, I believe, and it resets down. It's adding buffs, and so as you put them in this loop, the opponent team is not getting any turns. And you just keep stacking buffs and getting awareness from Donna Troy until Lex gets a turn, and then you can just use his big hits to take out everybody. The problem in this particular composition is that you need to worry about Darkseid because Darkseid gains
Yeah, he gains buffs
he
every.
gains buffs when you gain buffs.
Yeah, so
So
if you let him loose, then you're screwed.
so what you need to do to make this work is you keep going until Lex gets his first turn. So you keep going. So the dynamic duo will be in a loop for a couple moves, and then Donna Troy will take her turn. Just use her second, and then Lex will take his turn, and you use his 3
Hmm.
to whack out Azrael.
Hmm.
And then after you've done that, Darkseid will take a turn,
Hmm.
and you'll be safe because you have awareness. And then you immediately go through that loop again. As soon as you get back to Lex, use his basic, not his third, his basic
Hmm.
on Darkseid to put that buff immunity on him to stop all those buffs. And then just focus on him until he's out.
Yeah.
And it works every time. It's
Okay.
time consuming, but so this is why I haven't been giving a lot of thought, but I do want to come up with another composition that handles that team, that Darkseid, Terra, Barda, Azrael a little bit quicker. I think Emperor Ging had something that worked pretty reliably. So we'll have to ask him. I can't remember what that
I
composition
don't remember
was.
either, but I haven't really been in the Discord lately, but I don't remember. I don't know. Because I think I have a team on my board that I took out that was that composition, and I quite literally don't remember how I did it. So, yeah, I'm gonna have
So
to pay attention to that.
if folks are interested in more options, just let us know in the comments below, and we can consider putting more information together on that in later episodes.
Well, so one of the ways or one of the things that I did was, and the reason why I took a different approach than you did, well, not there wasn't like a reason. It's just I so happened to do it when you brought that up as a topic idea, was that basically I took the approach of, as I said before, the different ways to do it. So, like I said before, buff immunity, heal immunity, heavy hitters, stun, and doom. Each of like so buff immunity for Barda is just to keep her from stacking those stamina up, stacking those mins, which makes her basically hard as hell to kill and keeps the attention on her. Heal immunity keeps those mins from giving her all that overheal over and over and over again. The best ways to do it to me are the buff immunity and stun. If you can, I mean, heavy hitter would also be a great option. But basically, like for buff immunity, and you brought this up, and I forgot that I pinned this in our Discord channel. But there is a website called DCLToolkit.com, and this channel that you wanted to bring up, actually, Dr. Zibarro wanted to bring this up before we spoke, lets you filter out the different characters and what they do. In any case, so for buff immunity, what I was trying to do was find farmable ways and non-farmable ways to take care of Barda, because for anyone who just got into the game, oh, I'm looking at it right now: Darkseid, Barda, Terra, and Azrael. So maybe as I'm talking, I'll find a way to beat this team. So and in fact, as I'll talk through it kind of as I'm going through here. One of the problems with this team is that when you try to one shot Azrael with Arcus, he has all the agility ups and the stamina ups. The agility ups reduce the amount of damage that a strength ups that. Oh, let me slow down for a second. Agility ups reduce the amount of physical damage that a toon will receive. And Arcus is a physical damage toon. And so anyone who's watching the video right now, they will see what just happened. A double tap from Arcus meant basically nothing, simply because there's the agility ups, on top of which the stamina ups, which increase the HP pool, which makes it damn near impossible to take out Azrael. So this team is going to lose anyway, so I have to figure out another way. But
Do you
so
have Arcus Rebirth?
no, I have him L4 actually. I've
Okay.
been talking about rebirthing him, but I just been hesitant because after a while, it's the same thing I did with Azrael. Like with Azrael, I just ignored using him because everybody was, and then eventually I was just like, let me just go ahead and take care of it. I did the same thing with Arcus. I was using him at first. He was awesome. Then a lot of people started using him, so I just tossed him on my bench and stopped playing with him.
You
I
gotta
am
get on
getting.
that gravy train, man.
I know, I know, I know. You're right. And right now I'm getting absolutely demolished. But so in order to, and this is probably great, listen to the guy who's getting his butt handed to him by this team right now and how I think you should beat him. But in terms of buff immunity, you have Lex SS, which you just spoke about. He's everywhere, all over campaign. Farm him if you haven't, do it. You have Cassandra Kane, who I put out a video for yesterday, and she has an event starting this weekend. We're recording, I mean, check the dates, guys, because if you're watching this after the fact, I'm sorry. But you have a Cassandra Kane event coming up this weekend. Oh, this dark side team is like standing between me and getting to the next level. Two of them, there are two dark side teams that are set up like this that are keeping me from clearing this board, and I need those brainiac frags. And in fact, the next farmable buff immunity would be Star Sapphire. She does it on an AoE attack, which allows you to keep them from buffing, even if Azrael's on the other side. If you can get Star Sapphire to go first, she'll put buff immunity down on the entire team, which means Azrael won't be able to ramp, and he'll still hit, but he won't be able to hit as hard. And Barda won't be able to give the stamina ups and the taunt. Then you have Red Robin, who is not farmable, but he does have a PvP event coming this week as well. So he does a buff immunity on his A1 if he's invisible. Then you also have Wonder Woman POT, who I just checked now. She has a buff immunity on her A3, and she purges buffs. Then as far as heavy hitters, you named them all. It's Martian Manhunter, Larfleeze, Arcus. As far as stun, you named that. Hawk Girl, Artemis, Darkseid, etc. Heal immunity. Actually, first, Doom, you can do it with Black Flash. If you took that, I did. I know a lot of people did not. You could also use Chemo to put Doom on them and Darkseid to put Doom. The idea behind that is she might be around for a long time, but if she has 2 or 3 Dooms on her, then that will take her out. And then lastly, I would say heal immunity, which is Terra. She does it on her A1, and then also Red Robin. Now I'm adding Red Hood. I'm adding Red Hood because on his A1 he gives bleeds, but on top of all of that, on his A2, depending on the number of bleeds that is on the target, he will steal buffs away from the target. So you can steal that death immunity away from her. You can steal that taunt, even though you probably don't want Red Hood to have taunt. You can steal Minge, you can steal whatever else to kind of weaken her to give you the chance to take her out. So that was basically my approach. The farmable ones, Chemo, of course, is farmable. Well, Black Flash was a freebie forever ago. Hawk Girl is farmable in Chapter 6, Heroic. Martian Manhunter, not farmable, but Arcus is farmable. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are my that was my evaluation on basically how to take out Barda, try to give both options. And now I'm sitting here staring at a Darkseid, Azrael, Barda, Terra team and wondering what I need to do.
I was going to mention Red Hood if you didn't mention. Red Hood is decent against, he's decent against Barda because, you know, of what you mentioned. She does heal like a monster though, even with all that, it's the stamina up too, which we should understand also is not a heal. It increases the pull. So sometimes it'll look like she's getting a heal when she's just increasing her HP pull.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is technically not a heal.
Yeah.
But I found that Red Hood is probably a second tier counter, and not as a character, but as a counter to Barda. And I say that because you need to hit her so many times with him to make it really, really effective. At least like 4 or 5 times you have to hit her with him.
And I actually just realized that the best counter for Barda came out around the same time as Barda, and I'm about to try to use this right now, but it is Black Manta. Black Manta has a passive ability, and he is not farmable, so you're not going to find him. You just have to pray for an event next month. Black Manta has the ability to change mins into bleeds. So as she's stacking up all those mins, one of the most awesome things you'll see is her stack up a bunch of mins And then, and actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this team here. So I'm putting Black Manta on this team right now. I'm going to put Barda on this team. I still have an Azrael to account for. I don't know what to do about him. And then I put Lex in. So maybe I'll put Clayface in because he'll be the only one who could take a shot from. Or you know what? No, I think I might actually put Mr. Freeze in there. But in any case, so basically, let me try with Mr. Freeze first. But his passive, I think it takes up to 10 mins and turns those mins into bleeds. And so in the very beginning, before she got her rework, when she was still a problem, a couple years ago, I used to love running him with her because she would stack those mins. And I would just sit back and chill and wait. Oh, that's why I can't use Mr. Freeze because Mr. Freeze is not a zero turn taunter. But I would sit back and wait and would just watch her bleed to death. And another, which could not work in this scenario because of Terra specifically, another one that works, I use against Power Girl and I use against Barda, is Man Bat. I use Man Bat simply because now with Man Bat, I want Barda to stay alive. I want Power Girl to stay alive because if Power Girl's taunting, if Barda's taunting, and if they do their taunt again, he has a passive that triggers him to attack with his A1. His A1 lays down, I think it's 7 disease. So anytime, like not her passive taunts, but her active taunts, when she does that, he will attack automatically, and then you can still hit her with the A1 later. And as you're doing that, you're just giving, 7, 14, 21 disease. And so, yeah, she stays alive and she lives, but then she eventually kills her own team off. And then you just have to wait for her death immunity to fall off, and then she'll kill herself. So let's see how this runs. But that was one of the approaches that I loved using was Man Bat because then that death immunity and taunt is a disadvantage to the other team, and using Black Manta because all those mins become a disadvantage for Barda as well.
Yeah, I would be interested in hearing more about how well Man Bat does. And I've actually thought about Man Bat. This is a little bit off topic, but I've thought about Man Bat a little bit with the release of Blackfire. Because those two characters in Blackfire is only the second character now, if my memory doesn't fail me, to be immune to critical damage. So Man Bat is the first.
I think Mr. Freeze is as well.
I don't know about that.
I'm losing this match again. I'm going to look it up right now because I'm already losing this match. But you do see, for you guys who saw me just quit, you do see that the bleeds are set on Barda because of Black Manta changing her mins to bleeds. So I'm going to keep experimenting with that as a way to deal with this whole composition. But let me go into Mr. Freeze. I could be completely wrong, but I just looked at Mr. Freeze's kit because I think he's a very underrated toon, and I think he has, or does he just gain? Oh, no. He gains crit immunity as a debuff. He doesn't actually have crit immunity as part of who he is. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, I think there's only two, those Man Bat and now Blackfire, but the only two characters that have it built into like who they are.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess that's it. Those are our solutions for dealing with Barda. And as I'm sitting here staring at this screen, trying to find another way to deal, maybe, you know what? Let me just drop in the woman with the whip, see if she helps with this composition. But what we will say as I start this battle, and this is how we'll end, it'll probably end on a defeat. I would like to thank Dr. Zibarro for joining me today. We said this was going to be a 20-minute call, and it ended up being 40. So hope you guys were a loquacious pair. So we should know. And we were talking about adding other stuff. Like, is this going to be enough? Are we going to have enough things? Yeah, we are. So
well, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for joining. I always love it, and hopefully we'll get to do it again next week. So, thank you guys for watching all the way through. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys next time.